back to the channel. It's Rosalie Reads here, and today we're going to be going over our October October wrap-up, as well as our November TBR. I've decided to build a TBR this month because I actually have some guidelines that I'm able to follow that I was able to not go crazy with. So, that being said, yes, we're going to go through a whole TBR as well as our October wrap-up. And I'm very proud of myself this October wrap-up because I've only DNF'd one book. And I haven't been reading like the small, short, smutty novellas that I've been reading that I've just needed to like pass the time. So that being said, these are more so chapter books, and I've physically sat down and had to process information and not just glide through a book. So I'm very proud of myself this month. I do not know how many I've read. Let me count how many I've read. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 books this month. And they were the bigger ones. So, again, proud of myself. Okay? Yes. There are a few, like, too short of the steamy novellas. But otherwise, everything's 200 pages and up. So, yes, very proud of myself. Am I going to gloat? Yes. Did I read something other than smutty novellas this month? Yes, I did. Everybody congratulate me. Thank you. Stop it. Thank you. Okay. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get right on into the wrap-up. I only have 3 books that I read physically. So, that being said, everything else was on Kindle. But other than that, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Jessica Cain's My Stalker, My Protector. As I said, I did start out with a little bit of a steamy novella that I just needed to go through, I guess. I don't remember a single thing. It was part of the More Than a Crush series. It was book 4. And I gave it 3 stars, and it was only 82 pages. That's the thing that I like about short novellas, though, because you feel like you're progressing faster because there's only so many pages. And it just really helps me process that I'm reading faster, even though I'm not. It just helps. It helps. It really, really does help. Okay. Anyways, next up, Slade, which is a part of the Walk of Shame series. It's book 1. And it was 212 pages, and I gave it 3.25 stars, and it was written by Victoria Ashley. Slade is about a guy. Well, the whole series really is about a group of male strippers, which I've never read about in books. So this was like the first time that I was like, oh my god, they've actually written stuff about this. I can see why it would be appealing, you know, like I get it. And so, yes, it was a little bit on the cringy side, as well as the other books in the series, but it's still entertaining within the moment if you're sitting down and reading it. Very smutty. But the characters do have to get to a certain point. You know, they do have, like, their development. They do take the time. Unless they're, like, friends with benefits situation. They still take the time to get to their actual romantical feelings. But it's still there. Anyways, Slade, which each of the books are named after the male characters. So Slade, which is the first book, is about a guy named Slade. And he's kind of just this playboy, fuckboy, whatever you want to call him, same thing. It all means the same thing. And, you know, he's got a little bit of trauma from his past, so, which led him to become this way that he is. There's a whole reason why he works at this place. Like, I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but he does have, like, a very traumatic past concerning family. And there is a reason why he is the way he is. And that being said, he develops a lot throughout the series, and I really enjoyed that. However, again, it is a novella. I don't really go into those thinking I'm going to rate them high, okay, unless it's like mind-blowing for me to really, really enjoy them. And I don't read them like that. moving on, we've got Lee Rivers' Little Liar, which is part of the Web of Silence series, which is book 2. I rated it 4 stars, 430 pages, okay? So you guys will get my thoughts in the last video I uploaded. It is the video about picking series that I am in the middle of out of a cup and reading purely off chance what I picked from the cup. And that was one of the series that I needed to finish. It was more of the recent series I started, actually, but I still finished it, still got it done, very happy. But you guys can refer to that video, see my thoughts. I will have it down in the link of the description. Next up, we have K and B Richie, Some Kind of Perfect. I forgot to go grab the physical copy. Hang on. This copy doesn't match my other copies of Some Kind of the Addicted series, but we're gonna bear through it. So I finally read the conclusion of the Addicted / Calloway Sister series, and let me tell you, I was very emotional throughout this entire book because you're just getting like the last little bits of Lily, Lo, Reich, Daisy, Connor, and Rose that I didn't want it to end. I love this series so much. It is so dear to my heart, solely because I relate so heavily to Lo as a character. Simply because I went through similar aspects with my family going through that, and it was just... I just felt deeply connected to the series because of Lo and because of these other characters and because of the familial attachments that they have. And it's just a whole lot of love wrapped up in one series. There was not a lot of plot to the series, but it's more so about the bonds that are created around the characters and their lives. And just watching them go throughout the series, going through all their issues and then developing to be able to somewhat detach from their issues. Well, not detach. Okay, grow from their issues and create themselves to be better. And just watching them as they do that and live their lives, have their children, it was so heartwarming and it made me so emotional. And I will say I've cried about 3 times reading this. I was expecting that, which was why I was so scared to start it. But we made it through. I started it, and then I finished it. And I'm just... I'm going to miss Lily, Lo, right, Daisy, Rose, and Connor, like, so bad. Maybe a little less Connor, but I don't know why. Like, I don't hate Connor, but he's just not my favorite. He's like my least favorite. You know, I love Rose, which is ironic because her and Connor are literally the same person. He just has male genitalia and has like a superiority complex. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I'm going to miss this. Like, I'm so excited that I get to move on and read the Bad Reputation duet and the kids series, which is the Like Us series, which is their kids and their love lives. I'm so excited to start those because it's taken me a year to get to this point. And now I get to finally move on. But, like, it's so heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking. And I really don't want it to end. But I put this book down for the last time. Well, not the last time. Maybe I'll reread the series in the future. I don't know. But for reading it for the first time, this is my last time reading it for the first time. I'm setting it down. I will not touch this again for the first time. And it was just so difficult. so difficult. Anyway, next up, we've got a book that is 172 pages by Kinsley Kincaid, which is the Port Canyon Chronicle series, which is a paranormal romance thing. And it is called Ghost Dick. Which... Okay, so me and my best friend, we buddy read A Little Stranger, kind of a little bit of Little Liar. We didn't buddy read the entire thing. We made it like 30%, and then we stopped buddy reading it. But TikToks started showing up with books similar. that gave off like kind of similar vibes, like dark romance vibes, and that was one of the ones that came up by Kinsley Kincaid, Ghost Stick, or Chronicles, whatever. And so I read it, and I rated it about 3 stars, which not surprising. I tend to rate those books kind of 3 stars because there's not much character development, there's not much plot development, but I will say it did make me laugh. The guy did make me laugh, okay? The main guy was funny. I don't remember what his name was, but he was a ghost. And essentially, the whole family dynamic is weird because, okay, so he's her uncle. He's her dead uncle. His brother is the father of this girl. And she comes to the town, like, to unravel, like, everything. And so it's kind of incestuous. If that's your thing, cool. It's weird. It's weird. I'm gonna say that it's weird, but it's fantasy, so it doesn't really affect me that much. But you know, it's kind of weird. But you know, I read Credence by Penelope Douglas when I was like 16, so I have low standards. Actually, I think I was younger than that. Yeah, I think I was 14 going on 15. Okay, yeah, and I also grew up reading Wattpad, so I just, look, my mind isn't like everybody else's, okay? I don't, people say this shit is fucked up, and I'm just like, yeah, it is, but I mean, okay. I don't know, man. Because everybody else goes, like, they see, like, a stepbrother romance. They go, ew, gross, da 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 da. And I'm just like, Slay Queen. I don't know. It's probably because I started reading a lot of this shit at a very young age. And then it's probably corrupted me. But I don't find things that should be, like, making me hysterical actually make me hysterical. They really don't. But that being said, my apologies. I'm a little bit fucked up. I also have my own traumatic things, so, you know, you read that, you cope with it, and you're just like, okay, shit. I don't mind it. Well, I do mind it, but you get what I'm saying, right? You like it doesn't affect me as much as it should. Anyways, we're gonna move on from that. Next up, we have Hemi, which is Walk of Shame series part 2, which is Hemi's character, which he showed up in Slade's book. But I don't. Okay, so this one was about Hemi and Onyx. Yes, Onyx. And her and Hemi used to be best friends when they were kids, okay? Hemi is no, he was orphaned at a young age, along with his, like, sister, family. He lost his family. Like, his parents abandoned him. His sister was ripped away from him. The only person he had was Onyx growing up. And so they ended up falling in love, and then she had to end up leaving because she needed to take care of her grandmother, I believe. And then she ended up coming back 6 years later, and it's just kind of them rehashing their friendship and then it blooming into romance. And it was kind of just like a cute little read. It wasn't as smutty as the first one was. And I kind of enjoyed it, but it wasn't my favorite thing. Favorite thing. I give it 3.5 stars again. But, you know, it was better than the first book, I thought. Yeah. Moving on, we've got my book of the month pick, which was Katherine The Bodyguard. I went back. There should be a video about this. There was a reading vlog on me reading this. I read it, and it was a cute, wholesome little romance. There was really no, like, you could read this as, like, a YA. Like, I'm pretty sure this is a YA, but it was very wholesome. It kind of got me out of my little, smut era, you know? Well, my momentary loose of my dignity. So yeah, I did read Catherine Sutter's The Bodyguard, and it was cute. You know, you have Hannah Brooks and you have Jack Stapleton. Jack Stapleton's this actor, and Hannah Brooks is a kind of like a bodyguard character, and she ends up having to protect Jack Stapleton because he has this old lady stalker, which is so funny in itself. But everything kind of just like, it was so fun. It was so easy to read. I read it in 2 days, I believe. And there's a whole video on me reading it, so if you want my full thoughts, you go watch that video. Also will be in the link in the description. But yeah, it was a cute little read. I will probably read more Catherine Sutter's book when I kind of just want to be in like a wholesome loop of romance. But I am rarely ever in that mood. I like angst. I don't always like wholesome reads. I don't know. It really takes a lot of me. Which is like the opposite of what it should be. It really takes a lot out of me to read a wholesome, like, there's no like darkness to it romances. I don't know why, but I'm just like that, okay? So it takes a lot for me to read like wholesome little romances, and this one I kind of just glided through, but I don't know, because books like this, books like Everything by Nicola Yoon, I don't really find myself attaching to it as much as I attach to angsty books, depressing books, like books that have a lot of substance. Not saying that these books don't have substance, but there's just a lot more to dissect through. And I find myself enjoying those more than little cutesy romances, you know. Yeah. So that being said, we have our memoir that I read by Jeanette McCurdy. A lot of y'all have read this already. I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. 320 pages. I rated it 5 stars. Okay, so here's the thing. With memoirs, it's really hard to put into a box and rate it. Solely because it is not okay to rate another person's life experience. So I don't like rating memoirs. But this one was written so wonderfully. I really felt Jeanette McCurdy's pain because I had gotten a hold of the audiobook, and hearing her talk about the experiences herself kind of just puts you in the moment, and you kind of just feel like you're standing there as all of these experiences happen to Jeanette. And it's kind of just like, it makes you emotional because you hear Jeanette and you read the pages and you're like, wow, this really hurt her. Wow, she went through a lot. Because all of these experiences I went through when she was a child actor, and her mom being abusive towards her in certain ways. Now, by any means, would I ever comment on what traumatic experiences people go through as a child? I went through my own fair share of traumatic experiences. I do not think it is right for me to comment on other people's traumatic experiences. But fuck, if that shit didn't make me angry and mad when I was reading it and hearing it, and it kind of just, I've went throughout reading the book in and out of my own traumatic experiences because a lot of the stuff she went through reminded me of the stuff I went through. And it's kind of like, our situations were completely different by every single means. It was the opposite parent. She had her mom. I had my stepdad. My stepdad was an alcoholic, which is why I said Some Kind of Perfect I related to with Low and the Addicted series. I relate heavily to being in a family where there is an alcoholic family member, and you just kind of watch them destroy everything around them. It's kind of just like this surreal experience that you don't realize is happening as it's happening, and then you realize after, and you're like, wow, I really let that shit get to me. And that's kind of how I felt reading Jeanette's story. because these are the people that are supposed to protect you, and they don't. They put you through these things, and it's kind of just a moment where you're saying, as a person, now believe I cannot trust anybody like this. I cannot trust anybody like this. Which is why I am so often out of friendships. I only have one close friend, really. 2 close friends. And the others, I know, or I believe, are fake as fuck, and I do not indulge them. I do not indulge family members. I am not close to anybody, really, other than my best friends. And that is it. I am often out of relationships because of this, too. Because I do not put my all into a relationship, and I know this is my own red flag. But it's hard. It really is hard after going through something like that. You're not sure how you want to trust a person, how you could put your all into somebody, and if they hurt you, that entire fucking thing fractures. Now, this is kind of turning into like a therapy session, so I'm going to rein myself back a little bit. But the whole thing is, it was a great fucking memoir. It was touching. It was heartbreaking. Listening to her speaking about her experiences, her own voice cracking as she's reading her own diary, essentially. Because this is a diary. And it's like the darkest thoughts that nobody else would have ever guessed. And it's just crazy. And that is why I do not like reading them. But at the same point in time, it was a great fucking memoir. I will not lie and say it wasn't. I feel very passionately about the memoir. I regret not reading it sooner because I wanted to read it when it was popular, but I have this thing where I have to wait till popularity dies down a little bit and then I read something. But I'm also just a mood reader. I think that's just like, even when people are shoving books in my face, I'm just like, no, I'm going to read this at my own pace. That I think has something to do with it, but it was kind of just like, finally reading it was kind of really a surreal experience, and I don't know, it was just a lot. But yes, 5 stars to I'm glad my mom died. And we're moving on to something a little bit more lighthearted. Oran High School Host Club Volume 12. I love Oran High School Host Club. Okay, I watched the anime first, and then I read the manga when I was in middle school. But I decided to reread the manga because I wanted to get back into manga again. And this was kind of my way of, okay, well, let's reread something. And then, because I don't remember a lot from the mangas. Anyway, so that being said, we're reading the manga. And it's really kind of just like a moment to take a lighthearted step back, which I kind of needed after I'm glad my mom died. So this was kind of like a great thing to read after that. So there's a lot of wholesomeness in this, and it's kind of just like the moment where you take a step back and you're just like, wow, found family is like really something that makes life better. And I wish I could have something like this where you have like a found family-esque thing, but I do not. So I will still remain vicariously living through characters' books, escaping to their stories, because this is something that I do not have. Okay. Next up, Barbarian's Treasure by Ruby Dixon. I don't remember what place in the series this was. Me just finding out I read this book out of order is kind of like the bane of my existence. So I lied. Barbarian's Treasure is book 18 in the Ice Planet Barbarian series. I was supposed to read Barbarian's Lady next, which is book 13. But I guess I got the order wrong and completely skipped ahead. which I will despise myself for doing for like the next 3 months because I never read anything out of order. I always read a series first, like as the same thing. And if I reread it, then I'll skip around. But I went out of order and it's gonna kill me. So now I gotta catch up immediately. And then I probably won't reread it, but I hate that I did that. I hate reading things out of order. I don't. Now that I know that I did that, it's gonna slay me. Because I was looking up the order so I could place like a little snip, like a tidbit in the video, like what book it was, because I wasn't sure. And then I found that out and I was like, bro, what is wrong with you? I hate reading books out of order. Okay. Anyways, just let me all know that. Back to the video. But I know it was somewhere between 10 and 13, 14, somewhere in there. I don't remember anything about it. But we do have something amazing that I read. And it is The Serpent and the Wings of the Night. Okay, so I'm slowly trying to dive into fantasy, okay? So first, I read Fourth Wing, which, oh my god, was fucking fantastic. That was one of my first, I think, fantasy books. I've had little tiny experiences with fantasy prior to that, but I didn't really start delving into the fantasy realm until Fourth Wing. So after that, I read ACOTAR. After that, I read Iron Flame. And now I have Powerless, Reckless, Powerful, The Throne of Glass. The first 2 books of the Throne of Glass series right here that I'm so ready to read by any means. But this was kind of just like, I love fantasy. Like, I want to get so wrapped in fantasy, but the truth is it takes so much brain power to read. And that's why I'm like starting with like the easier fantasy reads like ACOTAR and this, which I feel like this, the world building is so like, it's not like the first book is just world building. Like you have the whole lay of the land already. She tells you as she goes. She doesn't just, world building first, okay, and then we bring it up to the plot, which is what ACOTAR was. But that being said, I loved this one. I gave it, I believe, 5 stars. Yep, I gave it 5 stars. And let me tell you, from page like 13, I was hooked. I buddy read this with my middle school friend, Jessica. And God bless her. I love her. I read this in like 2 days. And she was still reading it. And she was like, bro, we didn't even read this together at this point. And I was like, bro, you have, because we were on Fable and we were buddy reading it. And she just sees chapter after chapter after chapter, just me messaging in the conversation threads of each chapter. She's like, oh my god, you were like going ham. And I was like, yes, it's so good. But really, truthfully, it is super fucking good. It, like, I was hooked by page like 10. And I'm so excited to keep reading this series and dive deeper into it because I love Rain. I love Araya. I loved Araya. She's such a fucking badass. I love Rain. The cliffhanger, I could have gone without. But it was so good. I'm so excited because books like these truly get me into like the fantasy mood, and then I just want to read nothing but fantasy. But like I know my brain has to take a step back because fantasy is such like a harder thing to read for me because I am a romance girly through and through. That being said, it's hard for me to process like deeper world building, deeper plots, because what the fuck is this? I annotated it somewhat. I annotated the romance moments. But this was a whole lot of plot twists that I never would have suspected. But I never would have suspected them anyways because I just like being in the moment and I don't like predicting unless I'm just like, But when I made my predictions, like halfway through, I got some of them right, and I was so proud of myself. Like, it wasn't even a matter of me just being like, oh, I had this right. It's boring because I predicted it. Da, 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 da. No, I wasn't like that. I was happy I got it right somewhat. I didn't have it completely right, but I had figured out, spoiler alert, that it was set up for Araya to be found by Vincent. I had figured that out. I didn't know why, which is kind of where the plot twist came in, and that kind of surprised me. But I was like, ooh, ooh. I had it right for once in my fucking life. But oh my god, on an off note, can we talk about the cover Under the Dust Jacket? I love it so much. It's so pretty. But literally, like, this book was kind of like, I really dreaded starting this book too, but I had gotten it for my birthday, my 18th birthday. Hello, I'm 18. Hello, nice to meet you. And it was just kind of like I had it in my hands, and then I dreaded it, and then I actually started it with Jessica because we were just like, let's buddy read something. And then this was one of the ones that we came up with, and then we did a wheel, and this was the one that the wheel picked. And I am so thankful the wheel picked it, bro. Like, it was so good. Anyways, I'm gonna shut the fuck up. But let me give you a little bit of a plot point. Just imagine Hunger Games, but with vampires. Okay, there we go. Next up, we have Breaking the Bully by Jessica Kane. It's 2 stars and it's 63 pages. And and I don't remember a single thing. And then I have one of my library books that I read. Hang on. This is one of my library books that I read. It is a book called You Should Have Left by David Kellman. And it's basically journal entries about this guy. He ends up spending a week in the mountains of Germany. This is actually translated from Germany, or from German. So it's translated from German to English. And it is about this guy that his family like goes and takes like a vacation in Germany, and the house it rearranges itself, and it's kind of like a suspenseful thriller type thing, but it's not like heavily in that aspect, but it kept me entertained. I mean, it's a short little book, and it kept me entertained for like the 13 pages that it has, and it was just like, I want to watch a movie, but I heard the movie's not as good as the book is. But I rated this one 3 stars, and I'm content with my answer of what I rated it, because of course this is not my style of books that I typically read, but I still think it was cool to read, and it kind of got me out of the rut, and it helped me keep reading because it was a shorter book. So I was just like, yay! So we have a book of journal entries. So yay! Okay, last up, of course, I'm not going to go into full detail for the book because I did read it for a video. And again, same video that I read the continuing the series things. But the book is Dear Heart, I Hate You by Elia Greenwood, and the Easton High or the Silver Spring series. I don't know what to call it because I feel like she changed the name of it because it is called 2 completely different things on Storygraph and on Goodreads. But I don't know. So it's Easton High series or it's Silver Spring series. And my thoughts are in the video. I know what to tell you. Yeah. Those are all the books that I read in October. Hello, y'all. So I am filming this outro separate because the 2 videos that are going to be uploaded throughout the next 2 weeks, I believe, were filmed together, but it ended up being too long, so I had to separate them. So I filmed the outro in the next part of the video, but this one that's coming out is being posted first. So that being said, I'm gonna film an outro for this one and then an intro for the next one. So that's what this is. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to see more, let me know. If you have book recommendations that you think I would enjoy, I would very much appreciate them. I'm always looking for new books to read, even though I have way too many on my TBR at this point. But that being said, still looking. I'm looking to get up to the 5,000 mark on my Goodreads TBR. So if you guys send me things, I will read them eventually. Maybe not now, but eventually. And I will let you guys watch me read them as my uploads continue to go and be uploaded and edited and everything like that. So I just want to thank you guys all for your support. I know we had a tough fucking week with this whole fucking election thing. God, I'm so disappointed in my country. But, of course, we just have to work harder. Because this whole Trump winning thing is kind of a fucking damper on everything. And now we're digressing back to what we were before when it comes in terms of evolution and politics. We're just reverting back to the old ways, and it's kind of just, we made all that progression for what in terms of women's rights? So I don't know, it just fucking sucks. I was hoping Kamala would win, but of course didn't happen because, you know, America hates women. But we'll just have to try harder. Thank you guys for watching. Don't give up. We will make something happen eventually. It was a hard hit, but we will eventually find something to deal. I don't know. It's going to be a lot of struggle, a lot of preparation throughout the next month or so. And then hopefully we will be prepared and protected enough to know that we will feel somewhat safe, even though we don't feel safe at all with this fucking asshole as president. But I don't know. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.